By the time I reached the shelter, I had stopped narrating my life to myself. That habit dies quietly. There's a point where you no longer think, this is happening to me, and instead think, this is what happens. The building used to be a vocational school. Someone told me that once, years ago, when I still assumed places had continuity. The intake room smelled like disinfectant and instant coffee. The woman behind the desk wore a lanyard with too many keys and a calm that felt trained. She asked my name. Emily Ward? I said, the way you say something that has already been questioned too many times. She paused. Not dramatically, just long enough that I noticed the pause. She looked again at the screen, then at me. Her eyes moved differently now, less scanning, more measuring. Can you spell that? She asked. I did. She typed, slower this time. Then she stood, walked to the door behind her, and turned the lock. The click was clean, professional, not fear-based. I need you to stay seated, she said. You're not in trouble. I nodded because nodding had become my default response to authority. Employers, landlords, family lawyers. The ones who smiled sympathetically while removing things. She came back holding a thin folder that didn't match the others. It wasn't new. It had been handled by people who thought paper would last longer than memory. Your name is Emily Ward, she asked again. Yes. Her voice lowered. Not secrecy, but precision. We've been searching for you for 25 years. That was when the room changed shape. Not louder, not sharper. Smaller. As if I'd been standing in the wrong place my whole life and only now realized it. I'm 29. I said. It came out neutral. Informational. I know. She slid the folder across the desk and turned it toward me. The first page wasn't a birth certificate or a criminal record. It was a status notation. I mam nestir ivel alil ideal I crewilafal is subjastir aim alvef ram stiv esy stimus of I don't understand, I said, and immediately felt foolish. That sentence had followed me for years. HR offices, bank counters, family dinners where my sister wore my old blazer like it had always belonged to her. The intake worker, her badge said Marianne, sat across from me. You were never declared dead, she said. You were declared unnecessary. The words landed without force. They didn't need it. She explained slowly, not to soften it, but to make it accurate. Decades ago, certain private sector credentialing bodies had the ability to consolidate records when conflicts appeared, similar names, overlapping histories, internal sponsorships. It was supposed to reduce fraud. It had created quieter kinds of disappearance. In my case, my professional identity, education records, early employment certifications had been reassigned, not erased, reused. I saw my sister's name on the second page. It wasn't circled. It didn't need emphasis. My ex-husband's company appeared on the third page. A note about domestic continuity sat beside it, clinical and bloodless. I thought of how easily he'd stepped into my job after I was let go due to restructuring. How my sister had suddenly spoken my language in meetings, how clients responded to her like they already knew her. How I'd been told, gently, repeatedly, that I lacked documentation for my own experience. I thought I was just bad at defending myself, I said. Marianne didn't correct me. She just said, that's common. I didn't cry. I waited. Crying felt inefficient in a room that finally acknowledged me. The door opened. A man came in with a jacket that didn't belong to this building. He introduced himself as part of a state compliance review unit. He used my full name without hesitation. We flagged your case during an audit, he said. Your record wasn't supposed to persist this long. Someone benefited from the suppression. I asked what that meant. It means certain credentials are frozen effective immediately, he said. Employment claims tied to them are under review. There will be interviews. Not arrests, not apologies. Just attention. Sustained and unavoidable. I thought of my sister checking her email tomorrow morning. Of my ex-husband realizing a contract couldn't be renewed. Of the way they'd always assumed consequences came loudly or not at all. The man slid a document toward me. Temporary housing authorization. Identity reinstatement in progress, a case number. Reinstatement doesn't restore time, he said. Restores standing. I nodded again, But this time it wasn't submission. It was acknowledgement. When I left the shelter, the air felt different, not hopeful, just factual. I was still homeless, still estranged, still professionally behind. But my absence was no longer mistaken for failure. I didn't call my family. I didn't need to. Authority had already spoken in a language they respected. Weeks later, I received a letter confirming my status correction. It was impersonal. That helped. My life had been dismantled impersonally. I didn't need sentiment in the repair. I don't know what will happen to my sister or my ex-husband. I know investigations move slowly. I know power doesn't announce itself when it's confident. What I know is when I say my name now, systems respond. Doors unlock instead of closing. Silence has shifted sides. I'm rebuilding, not returning. There's no ceremony in that, just continuity. And for the first time in years, my existence doesn't require explanation.